Life after retirement, overcoming loneliness and finding joy again. Hello, my dear friends. Let me begin with a gentle question. Have you ever woken up on a quiet Monday morning after retirement, looked around your home, and realized that life feels strangely silent? No more rushing to work, no deadlines, no meetings to prepare for. At first, this silence feels like freedom, a welcome rest after decades of busyness. But slowly, that silence can begin to feel heavy. It can feel like an invisible weight pressing down on your heart. If you've ever felt that way, please know this: you are not alone. Many people experience loneliness after retirement. It is one of the most common and most unspoken challenges of this new chapter in life. And loneliness, my friends, is not just about being physically alone. It is also about missing connection, missing routine, and missing the sense of purpose that work once gave us. That's why in today's message, we will gently explore together how to ease that loneliness. I want to share with you not just ideas, but real, practical steps, ways to reconnect with others, rediscover purpose, embrace new opportunities, and even find peace in your own company. Retirement is not the end of the story. In many ways, it can be the beginning of the richest chapter of your life. So let us walk together through these steps, slowly and warmly, like old friends having a heart-to-heart conversation. Let's start with the first truth: human connection heals loneliness. During our working years, connection often came naturally. We were surrounded by colleagues, customers, students, patients, whoever we worked with each day. Even the small conversations at the coffee machine or the quick greetings in the hallway gave us a sense of belonging. But after retirement, that daily rhythm disappears. The house becomes quiet. The phone doesn't ring as often. And slowly, we may begin to feel forgotten. But here's the good news: connection is still possible. We just have to reach for it more intentionally. It might be as simple as calling an old friend, inviting a neighbor over for tea, or joining a local group. Think of it like planting seeds. One phone call, one smile, one shared meal. Each of these is a seed. And over time, those seeds grow into the garden of companionship that keeps loneliness away. I'll share a story. Robert, a retired teacher, once told me he felt invisible after stepping away from the classroom. For decades, his students and colleagues filled his days with laughter and challenges. But after retirement, he said the silence in his home felt unbearable. One day, he decided to call an old colleague for coffee. That meeting turned into a weekly ritual. And soon, it grew into a small circle of retired teachers who laughed, shared stories, and reminded each other of their value. Robert told me, "I thought my teaching days were over. But really, I was still teaching each other how to live well after retirement." Connection doesn't always mean starting something brand new. Often, it means rediscovering what was already there, waiting for us to return. And speaking of rediscovery, let's move to another important truth: finding purpose again. When we worked, our jobs gave us structure and meaning. Without it, the days can feel empty, like an open field with no path. But retirement is not the end of purpose. In fact, it gives us a chance to rediscover purpose, not as something we have to do, but as something we choose to do. Purpose can come from the smallest acts: planting flowers and watching them bloom, cooking a meal and sharing it with a neighbor, teaching a grandchild how to ride a bike, or helping someone at the grocery store carry their bags. I remember a woman named Maria. After she retired, she told me she felt invisible, as if the world didn't need her anymore. She spent months at home feeling useless. Then one day, she decided to volunteer at a local animal shelter. She cleaned cages, walked dogs, and greeted visitors. The dogs wagged their tails when they saw her, the staff smiled and welcomed her, and suddenly, she mattered again. Maria said, "It wasn't about saving the world. It was about showing up, being useful, and realizing that life still needed me." Purpose doesn't have to be tied to a paycheck. It is tied to our hearts. When we live with purpose, even in small ways, loneliness begins to lose its power. Another way to overcome loneliness is to embrace learning and growth. Think of retirement as a second youth, but this time, with more wisdom, patience, and freedom. Many people discover hobbies they never had time for: painting, gardening, music, or even learning a new language. Let me tell you about George. At 68, he lost his wife after 40 years of marriage. The emptiness he felt was unbearable. One day, while visiting the library, he saw a flyer for a beginner's painting class. He almost didn't go, thinking he was too old to start. But something inside whispered, "Why not?" That class changed his life. Not only did he discover a passion for art, but he also found a community of friends who became like family. George told me, "I thought I had nothing left to learn. But I realized that learning is what keeps us alive. Learning something new is like opening a window in a stuffy room. Fresh air comes in. Light shines where there was once darkness. Here's something practical you can do. Write down 3 things you've always wanted to try but never had the time for. Maybe it's traveling, maybe it's writing your memoir, maybe it's yoga, or even learning to play the piano. Choose one, and take the first small step. Because every new beginning pushes loneliness further away and invites life back in. And once we begin to rebuild purpose and explore new horizons, there's another gentle shift we can embrace, turning loneliness into peace through solitude. Loneliness and solitude may look similar, but they are very different. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the gift of being with yourself. When the house is quiet, instead of letting the silence scare you, you can let it heal you. Light a candle, brew a cup of tea, read that book you've been meaning to read for years, or simply sit by the window, watching the world outside. These small rituals transform solitude into sacred moments. Think about nature. A tree stands alone in the field. Yet it is not lonely. It is rooted, alive, connected to the earth and sky. In the same way, you too can find strength in stillness. One practical way is journaling. Write down your thoughts, your memories, your dreams. Journaling sharpens the mind and creates a legacy for your children and grandchildren, a way for them to truly know your heart. Another way is mindful walking. Step outside, breathe deeply, and let each step remind you that you are alive, present, and part of something greater. Loneliness whispers, "You are forgotten." Solitude gently answers, "You are enough." Now, before we close, let me share with you a story that brings all of these truths together. There was a man named Samuel. He retired after decades as a factory worker. His wife had passed away. His children lived far away, and he often felt like the world had moved on without him. For years, loneliness was his daily companion. But one afternoon, while sitting on a park bench, Samuel noticed a little boy struggling to fly a kite. The boy was frustrated, and the string kept tangling. Samuel walked over, helped him untangle the string, and showed him how to catch the wind. The boy's laughter filled the air. And in that simple moment, something shifted inside Samuel. The next day, he returned to the park. Slowly, he became the grandpa of the park, helping kids ride bikes, fly kites, and play games. Parents began greeting him. Neighbors waved. And soon, his days were no longer empty. Samuel once said, "I thought my story was ending. But really, it was just beginning again." My dear friends, that is the heart of this message. Retirement is not the end of life. It is a doorway to a new chapter. Yes, loneliness may visit, but you don't have to let it stay. With connection, with purpose, with learning, and with the gentle embrace of solitude, you can turn this chapter into one of the most meaningful seasons of your life. Let's gently gather the wisdom we've shared today. We talked about the power of connection, reaching out, rebuilding old friendships, and planting new ones. We discovered the beauty of purpose, finding meaning not in work, but in small acts of love and contribution. We explored the joy of learning, opening doors that bring both excitement and companionship. And finally, we embraced the gift of solitude, transforming silence into peace, and loneliness into a deeper relationship with ourselves. These are not heavy burdens. They are gentle steps, simple practices that can brighten your days and strengthen your spirit. So I encourage you, pick up the phone, try something new, write your story, step outside and greet the world. Because life after retirement is not about waiting, it is about living. If this message touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might need encouragement today. Together, we can build a community where no one feels alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. And remember, my dear friends, you are never truly alone.